And welcome back to the We'll Take It From Here podcast. Another week, another episode. However, first, we are going to bring you our show's sponsor, because this episode is brought to you by Honest Supplements. Now, Joe, what's Honest Supplements? Well, let me tell you. In a world that is plagued by new illness outbreak every other day, it's important to keep your body performing at its best with the right vitamins and supplements. However, these products can get expensive, especially with rising prices all around us. Honest Supplements has resolved that problem. They mark up all products by just $1, saving their members an average of 50% per product. Yes, that means that the protein you're paying $60 for is only $30 on their website. They have everything from vitamins, sports supplements, recovery, weight loss, CBD, and so much more. Timmy and I are both members and can advocate for the amount of money that you will save. And do we also mention that all products are third-party lab tested? Because that's the only true way to prove vitamins and supplements actually contain the ingredients that they claim. Don't wait. Go to Honest Supplements right now to join today and start taking better care of your health. And it's right. If you train jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, or just in the gym, you better be taking Honest Supplements. So go to their website, guys. All right. Now it's time for the show. And we're back, folks. So we'll take it from here with Joe and Timmy, episode 228. We're going to get right into this. Guys, we have another guest. We promise you we have another guest. You don't just have to hear us talking, okay? We've got, if you train Muay Thai or Jiu-Jitsu, if you're part of the Pure community or just somewhere in Morris County, you definitely know this face. This is Mike Muccione, Metal Mike. Welcome to the show, brother.
What's going on, gentlemen? How are we?
We're doing fantastic.
Well. How are you? I'm good. No, thank you guys for having me on. It's pretty cool. You know, I know you guys have been doing this podcast for how long? About 2 years or something like that?
So it's going to be around 2 years for me and Timmy, but the show has been about 4 years now.
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Which
is wild to think I've been on the show for almost 2 years.
2 years. It doesn't
I was thinking that the other day. Yeah.
Just been hanging out in the shed for a few years.
No, dude. It was...
I think we've had this about 6 months.
6 months.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Moving on up.
Nice.
Slowly, incrementally.
Bro, we used to share back and forth with his garage and my apartment. My apartment.
You're lugging all this stuff around?
Yeah. But this is
exactly. So it was trying to figure out how to, and we originally had one camera and it was on like my old cell phone. Right. So
the lighting was terrible in my apartment.
Inconsistent.
Sure.
Yeah. Horrible.
No, this is a nice little setup.
Yeah.
Nice.
We were blessed. Nice. We got a shed. My in-laws' neighbors were getting rid of the shed. They got a new one. And like, I'm going to demolish it. Do you want it? I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yes, I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not perfect. We have a little weird corner,
it's
but
fine though. It's great.
It's perfect for us.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. Love this. No, but as I was saying off here when we were setting up the computer, just really want to get to know a little bit more about you. You got a really cool story with, I'm assuming, with how you lost that much weight, right? We'll get into that. But before we get there, just bring us back. We like to, and I'm sure people who train Muay Thai, train Jiu-Jitsu, who maybe don't know you personally, would love to know who you are. So take us back, who's Mike and how'd you get into, fighting and what you do today, man.
Sure. So basically, like I was talking to you before, I've grown up in Roxbury, New Jersey, specifically Succossona, forever, basically. I think my parents moved here when I was about 3 years old. And I've just lived here since then. My mom and dad, they had me in 1992. I'm 34. So basically how I got into martial arts, I think it was like about 5 years old, and man, I was a Power Ranger. Yeah, man, what got me into it was Power Rangers.
Yeah,
dude, I was a Power Rangers fan. I just wanted to do nothing but like jumping, spinning kicks. I want to be like the Red Ranger. It was cool, man. No,
my brother's named Tommy.
It's nice.
that was my choice,
dude. That's exactly what I want to do, and I just probably bugged my parents enough to get me introduced to to like the local karate school at the mall, like how every 5-year-old starts. And I just didn't stop until I was about like 25 for the most part. I just kind of grew up doing martial arts forever. Around like 15, I started doing a little bit more full contact, like kickboxing, as well as with the karate with it, and just kept going. And
was that like Taekwondo kickboxing, or was that like actual
it was like full contact, like American style kickboxing, like the Chuck Norris-y type stuff. If you've ever seen like oh man, but if you've ever seen like that Chuck Norris like fight league that was back in the 90s or whatever, and where they had to do like a bunch of everybody was wearing like fucking long pants, and throwing a bunch of kicks. There was all shitty
like kind
boxing,
of loose baggy pants, but they weren't too baggy. Yeah,
it's all that stuff.
That's
that's what I started in a little bit, and just kind of went from there into jiu-jitsu in my 20s, and started going to Pure in about 2018. So that's kind of like the short version of like
where did you originally start jiu-jitsu?
I started actually in the martial arts school, the karate school that I was a part of. There was another instructor that was a Damian Maya purple belt, and he started doing I asked him to start doing jiu-jitsu classes because I wanted to learn. I thought it was valuable. Not much of the other karate community was really interested in that. They just weren't into it, which is fine. You can like your own things, no problem. But I really wanted to make the eventual transition into that. So,
What made you understand that jiu-jitsu was important?
I mean, really, I just saw the reality of everything, like back in the day when I was a younger kid, again, getting into martial arts and seeing things. I was a pro wrestling fan and all that jazz, come on, all about boy stuff. And I just started seeing like and again, I was an only child with old parents with unrestricted internet access, so they didn't know how emails work, So I did whatever I wanted to, and it was just like you could find whatever, just watch this, and then eventually it's just like, all right, I started finding the more like realistic stuff where I go to Blockbuster, rent the DVDs, you know what I'm saying, that have that section, and with the rest of the rest of the documentary stuff and whatever, and it's just like, oh, what's this? Let me see what UFC is, or let me see what some of the more hardcore wrestling type of stuff is, and it's just like I found it from there, and I'm just like, wow, I kind of think like this is something that's cool. Let's kind of explore where else I can find it, and then you stumble upon Pride, upon UFC, and you just start going from there. You start watching some little fights, but I always just enjoyed like the boxing as well when I was a kid, the karate. It was always kind of like emphasized while I was growing up. That's what I enjoyed. I tried to play other sports, football, baseball. Baseball's boring. I hate baseball. It sucks.
I'm a lacrosse player for a reason. I made the switch.
I just couldn't. I wasn't big enough. I wasn't fast enough. I wasn't strong enough. I wasn't coordinated enough. I can't throw. I can't catch. I just stink. And the only thing I could do was karate at that point, and then again started going into kickboxing, full contact fighting, and found a grappling love for the most part. Yeah.
So it was a Damian Maya purple belt, right? Was he training at that karate school, and that's where you asked?
So all right, here, long-ish story behind this whole karate school thing too. I started again like when I was like 5 and went through the whole system of the local karate school that I was involved with. I'm third degree black belt in that. And it's been a while. It's been over 15 years probably since I've done any like karate bits or anything like that. But I ended up getting very close with the owner and everything like that. And actually, he was like, I consider him almost like a second father to me at points and times and such.
Wow.
And he was my coach throughout kickboxing. He was good to me. He was good to my family. He knew my family and all that stuff. And unfortunately, over a period of time, how I came into the ability to kind of start my business was my parents dying and such. So my dad died. I got a little bit of an inheritance and such, and I was presented with the idea of now owning and running this like local karate business. And honestly, that at that point in time, that was something that I kind of wanted to almost pursue because it was the only thing I was good at. I taught on the sides. I was always at, bullshit dead end jobs, whatever it was, at some warehouse, moving car parts, working at this local overnights place, a literal like just warehousing jobs that were absolutely going nowhere. And I taught kids karate on the side for the most part, and I've been doing that just because that's kind of how you earn your stripes, whatnot, in the local karate scene. And again, over time, I was teaching kids karate. I was teaching adult karate. Everybody knew me in the school. Everybody kind of liked me for the most part, I hope, And then, unfortunately, again, my father and my parents died, and I got an inheritance, and I was presented with the idea of owning and running this business. And I owned it and ran it for 2 years. 2 years.
So that's a separate gym from that you were training at, or you?
Oh, nope, that was the one that I trained at.
So you bought it out from them?
Correct. Yep, that's exactly what happened. Yep, and I did it for 2 years before I started failing miserably, due for a bunch of reasons. Some my own, some not so much my own, just more so naivety on my point and such. I was a little bit taken advantage of, and I got kind of screwed over at that point, and that's where I needed to make a decision and just be like, hey, I need to sever ties, cut it all completely, this, that, and the third. And it was really hard to do, especially when you lose a business of any type. I bet, you want nothing more to succeed, and it's hard, especially when you can kind of like almost like see it coming, dude. Like there was no way.
It doesn't happen overnight.
No, it doesn't happen suddenly overnight. It's over a multitude of bits, and it's just like, oh fuck, I gotta do this. But I can do this, but I can't. You can try, and you gotta try. You can't not. And but again, I had to come to terms with the reality of being like, okay, I'm gonna lose things now. It's costing way too much money, and I just can't do it. And that's when I had to like sever ties with basically an entire community and explain what was happening, what happened exactly, and tell them how I kind of felt like I got taken advantage of by the head honcho and won't be seeing you anymore for a while, guys. And you can choose to train here, do this, do that, whatever. And that was that. So I ended up going with the instructor that I spoke with, because I was close to him as well, the jiu-jitsu instructor, to another local karate school, and started training jiu-jitsu with him, and had to, again, sever ties, cut the lease, cut the business, this, that, all the things, just had to kind of, set it aside and totally break friendships and everything totally apart.
Man, that's tough. So
it stinks. I don't recommend it. But honestly, again, if things didn't go the way that they did, I would never have gone to Pure. I would never be here. I wouldn't be talking to you guys. I would still be fat and out of shape. Who knows? So it's a learning experience. That's really what it is. And I mean, it's a rough one to go through. It's difficult, and that again is something that led me to be, for lack of a better word, fat as shit. Because when you get depressed, you eat ice cream and cookies. I love them.
Well, and that's definitely part of the reason I want to get into that story about how the transformation you made, because you recently posted a picture on Instagram, and I was taken aback. I did not know that was you. I never knew you would even be, because you're what, 140 right now?
Oh, stop it! Don't butter me up. About 155-ish, something like that.
Yeah, you don't want to be lighter than that.
No, I don't know.
But for 155, I with your build, I thought that's how you were when you were, your entire growing up.
So most of it, not exactly far off. I was always like, throughout my childhood, I was kind of like a slightly chunkier kid, a little nerdy here and there, glasses, this and that. Tried to do all the fun spiky hair with my kids, like the kids did in the early 2000s and shit, and just couldn't pull it off or anything. I was.
The Scotty too hot.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god! But it was just like, could not pull it off. This and that. Didn't have the confidence enough to either to be myself and be like, I want to wear this. Could I ever pull off just all black? Can I just wear the band T-shirts I like? No, I just gotta conform and shut up and skate by. Just go unnoticed. That's really all I tried to do.
Don't stick out.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I never really. again, being involved in karate, I wasn't involved too much in like lifting weights or, anything like that. I tried more of that towards my like later teens, and I just like found it boring. So I just, as most people do, but I kind of just started to get into it more as I got a little bit older with it, So, but yeah, that's where I was kind of like going when it came to some of this weight loss bit. I just shot up because I was so big, man.
Yeah.
So at what point? So you're saying you've basically been the size most of your life.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
so at what point were you like starting to really put on the weight?
Probably when I went to originally when I went to about college. About 2010, I graduated high school, and like that September, I ended up going to college, and everybody gains their freshman 15. Yeah. I made it probably closer to about 45, almost 50. Shit. Yeah, dude. I wanted nothing more than to be away from my home life, and I finally was. Yeah. And I was just like, all right, let's just go. And that's exactly what I did. And so I shot up probably to about from when I graduated at about 155, 60. I shot up to about 200 something, just, it was just, rough from there. I'd float between 200 and 225. And then again, when you get depressed because you're not like happy about what's going on in your life, what's happening with your life, where it's going, all the other like things like, man, like random crap that happens, like again, you can't predict sometimes just like when relatives are going to die. Yeah. And, like sometimes it comes as a shocker, and again, growing it up, that's around certain things, around old parents, around people getting sick, around this, around that, man, just on a Tuesday, something can happen. And that's basically what happened. My mom ended up passing away. And again, going through depression from close people, the people that raised you, regardless of how your relationship was with them. Mine wasn't great. Even though, I wasn't a good fan of my mom, I know that she loved me and this, that, and the third. So, of course, it hits you. Yeah. And it's the same thing when you lose your father and about 2 years later, exactly, Jesus and Christ. So, again, you're on your own with nobody. Again, I don't remember if I explained, but I'm also an only child. Yeah. I'm the youngest of my family at about 34. Like, it's me at the end of my my family tree.
Even with like
aunts, uncles, and cousins?
I have two relatives that I really talk to in Texas. An uncle who's 72, and my next like closest cousin who's in his 40s, something like that. I do have some family that's like in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. I don't talk to them for bullshit family reasons, and it's like, it's how it is, it's probably going to unfortunately stay that way, but I mean, it's just for how they treated, certain people when they were dying as well. Mm-hmm. Again, another close family member that I had was my wonderful, grandmother as well. She wasn't really my grandmother. She was my nana, nanas are the best, man. That's different, but no, she was my grandmother, of course. And, she was more of a mom to me than my own mother for the most part. Basically raised me, got me thinking, got my whole thought process changed, just be like, got me to be curious, got me to, again, think for myself, be independent, shape my personality a little bit more. And I have a lot to thank for that old lady because she was pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
And again, when you lose these people that are really close to you, and then you have like basically no one other than my wife at the time, who wasn't my wife. She was my girlfriend then, but not having any of those close family members and having to go through all of those things, like that depression sits in. And some people handle it in other ways, whether it be drugs, whether it be alcohol. I handled it with eating too much ice cream, with eating too much pizza, with eating too much, self-indulgence at that point. And it's just like, man, it racks up after a while, and especially when you're also a young man, 20s, early 20s, it was what? I think my dad died when I was 21. Mom was not. I was 19. So
Wow, that's young.
It's like you're just out of the house too. What does everybody do? You get a house with the boys, and you start having parties every weekend.
Yeah.
That adds up. You know, it's fun, but it adds up after a while. You know. So yeah, that's basically how I gained all of my weight, at one period of time from 2012, 10-ish, all the way up to, tried to stop being fat around 2018. Yeah.
I like how you wore that. Try to stop being fat.
No, dude, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
It was two things really. One, I was over it. I was just over being fat. I'm tired of it. Like literally just fed up with myself more than anything. You know, and that's how I am about most things. I don't get mad at other people. I get mad at myself most of all. And
accountability.
And the other thing was also, you know, be it a little vain, I didn't want to be remembered as the fat person in my wedding. You know, like my wedding photos, I just didn't want to look fat. That was it. That was bottom line.
That's fair.
And
I wouldn't call that as
that was it. I was just like, nope, I'm over it. I don't want to be remembered as the fat guy. I just wanted to look as good as I could, and went from, I think one of the pictures that I posted, it's me shirtless in Cancun with my wife. And I think I was about 245, something like that. And then like day of my wedding, I was 185. Which was not 10 months after that, like that Cancun picture. I was just like
10 months.
10 months, you lost 60 pounds.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
I told you, I was over it.
Yeah.
I was over it.
That's impressive.
I was over it. I was over myself. I knew I needed to make a change, and that's it. Yeah.
So what was the change that you made? Because that's a big swing.
I mean,
60 pounds in 10 months.
When it comes to that type of stuff, like everybody says, oh, you just got to work out, you got to do this. No, it's entirely about your diet. It really is. And it's not even something, like I sound shitty when I say this, but it's not even that I made a crazy drastic change in my diet. It's just like I cut the portions down. That's a big thing. Like you have to literally just cut your plate in half and start thinking about what you're eating too. It's just like, is this entire plate of mashed potatoes and mac and cheese better than just like the steak? Maybe have more steak, or maybe have this. Like, be a little sensible of what you're having, you know, rather than just eating butter, and, you know, as amazing as it tastes. And like, you just have to like cut it down a little bit and understand and like see your habits sometimes too. Like I have when it comes to even all this weight loss and whatever, how much weight you lose or whether you're trying to, and even so, being at this weight now, dude, I still have fat brain. Like you can't turn that off. When you get to a certain point, or maybe it's just an addictive personality, that's partially it too, probably. Like food just is another addiction, a drug, or this or that. You know, it sounds silly to say because like you can just stop eating that, you know, but it's so hard, man.
Well, the problem is you have to eat every day.
You do have to eat every day, but like you don't have to eat this every day.
No,
you don't have. That's the thing.
But
and
when you take that ice cream right to your mouth, you're like, "This is fucking."
I
amazing.
love cookie dough ice cream. I love mint chocolate chip ice cream. I can't stop. I'd eat it every day if I could. You know, it's just I know. I know I can't do that, obviously, you know, and you have to catch yourself sometimes and be like, because silly little things like that can just form dumb habits. Like, okay, like I'll just have a bag of chips before bed. Okay, I'll just have a bag of chips there now and there. And then all of a sudden you have a bag of chips every night. Yeah. And it's just like, oh crap, you know, what am I doing here? It starts small like that. Yeah. And then it can just be like, oh, I'm just having a few beers as well on this. Oh, I'm having this. Oh, just one beer every night. It's not a big deal. I don't want one beer. And the wussy stuff, that's to have 2, 3, you know, something like that.
You're not even getting a buzz out of the one beer.
Yeah, it stinks. What am I drinking beer for taste? No.
But that's exactly it. That's how it starts. You know, in college, I went through a little similar phase, but like I used to smoke cigarettes too, and that was
Me too, yeah.
You know, like it's catching yourself. And now at this point, is I can't even smell cigarettes. It bothers. Like every once in a while,
I got a butt right now.
What got me is my buddy gave me a 2-year-old cigarette. And he's like, dude, it's my birthday. His birthday's New Year's Day. He's like, oh, come on, just have it. I was like, I don't want to, but I'll take a drag. Oh my god, I almost got sick.
I'm trash. Give me a Camel Crush right now. Give me the menthol one.
Filter.
The menthol ones.
But it's the same thing. It's like you're like, oh, I can just have one, and then it's catching that snowball effect, and like and I don't know if it's addicted personality or how many
It's
people
gotta be
have
at
it.
least a little bit.
Yeah, or maybe some people just whatever. But like it's like having that to learn because no matter who you are, you can go through a depression phase. Whether you're addicted to personality or not, and go down bad rabbit holes, and maybe you can kick it a lot easier than the person with addiction. But to catch yourself, it's such a great tool to know. Unfortunately, you have to learn.
You got to go through it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you have to be, so far behind and look at yourself in the mirror and just be like, I hate this. I hate everything I look at every morning. And it's, and then it's just like, sometimes it's not about like what you are seeing. Sometimes it's about what you're thinking too. And that's the hardest thing too. It's just like, I just hate the way I think. I hate the way I'm wired. I hate the way this. I hate the way that. And then it's just like, you hate the world too. And it's just like, then everything just sucks, and you gotta at least try and turn it around. Dude, there's still some, the world still sucks, I can't deny that, but you gotta at least try and turn yourself around before anything else, because if you don't feel good about yourself at least a little bit, and granted, I don't feel fantastic about myself all the time either, but as you gotta at least try and make changes that'll make you not only just healthy, happy, but also healthy, too. Like again, seeing people just like fucking die, it's like you gotta do something, or you're going to end up like this. And that's exactly the route I could have ended up if I just stayed fat, like my parents both had heart diseases, heart problems, had multiple heart attacks as well. Wow, yeah. So it's just like it not only could it run in my family, it's just like now I'm really pushing it by being over 200 pounds, over 250 pounds, sure. Not eating, not drinking, a massive amounts of alcohol, whatever it is, eating, not working out, all this, that, and the third. And I'm like, did I even realize I was like that upset or depressed? No, I didn't realize it until later on, like actually until about 2-ish years ago, 2, maybe 3 years ago, I didn't really realize it was a depression that I was like going through at that point. And it can last a while, especially something like that. It might not just be in and out thing, it lasts quite frankly a few years, if done right. If you really go for mission accomplished on it.
that actually you sort of started to get into one of my questions I wanted to ask you, like going through something so tragic as losing your parents, right? But then you get the inheritance, you buy out for the gym, the karate studio, right? Was that a way for you to be like, okay, I need to get, like, this thing happened, it's horrible, but I can't let it defeat me, I need to get something off my mind? Or
no, it was the next logical progression of the only thing I knew how to do, and that was just, again, teach martial arts and like think about like what would be the next way to go about that. Does this make sense? Most people would own a business. When you want to work for yourself, this, that, all those cliche things people tell you about. And it again, that's what I thought at that period of time, and that's what I felt at that period of time. And I honestly thought I would have a little bit more help and such, but that turned out to be, wrong a little bit, a little more guidance and such. But I also wanted to really like do it myself. Again, I just kind of have this unfortunate independence. Like I got to do it my way, this way, I have to do it. I have to go through it. And I didn't like ask for help at times when I probably should have. I didn't take help when I probably should have, and those, that's on me. That's how that goes. But again, you got to learn from these things, and just try again, because if you fail once, you fail a few times. Sometimes it's it's fun to fail once in a while, but you gotta learn to it. You gotta go through it, and you gotta keep going, man, and if it's something that you really do enjoy and really do kind of believe in, or that just other people, so I don't believe in myself half the time, but other people keep saying this, saying that, oh, you could totally do this, you could totally do this, and I'm just like, nah, I stink, like, you can totally do this, and then, it just kind of morphs into that, but ultimately I failed at that business. But again, if I didn't fail at that business, I wouldn't be now still teaching martial arts in the capacity that I am, in a much better setting, honestly,
And you probably may not have been gone down the route of the MMA route, with Muay Thai and
absolutely.
Jiu-Jitsu and all that.
When I was in the karate school, they were it was more, and it sucks to say a little bit because it's just the truth of it. It got to be almost like karate social club, at that point, a few older people, mostly kids, and like the kids program again was good for what it was. I was running it to the best of my ability. Could I have ran it better? Sure. But it's just like they weren't going the MMA route. They weren't going the competition route. They were going, here and there. It felt more sometimes in like almost daycare for little kids and then like some karate training for the teens. And it's just like, that's not what I wanted when I was a teen. I wanted the real fucking deal. And I did get some of the real deal, but it just started to change. And I couldn't tell you why. Maybe just people got too comfortable with things and they weren't embracing other kinds of martial arts. They didn't want to do grappling, plain and simple. They didn't really want to do full-fledged kickboxing or Muay Thai or anything like that. They just kind of wanted to stick to doing karate katas and, doing this, going to the pizza place afterwards and talking shit about this, that, and whatever, and it's fine, for whatever you want it to be, as long as you're enjoying your training, that's cool. But that's not how I wanted to run my iteration of martial arts school. I wanted to bring a little bit to that. And I knew that there'd be a little bit of a clash of thoughts, a clash of cultures or whatever. And I'm just like, I gotta, because I just don't feel comfortable anymore giving you a watered down reality version. You know? It's just like, it's unfair to me. So I'd rather do something that I believe in, because man, some of those silly business tactics that these massive places do, like again, these Taekwondo schools or Take Your Do schools, these McDojos do, man, like they're crazy good at business. I'm a terrible business person. I'll tell you that straight up.
Did you say Take Your Do?
Yeah, Take Your Do. That's so funny. That's a good one, right? Yeah. Take Your Do. That's man. They are great business people. I am horrible at business. I know I'm okay at teaching martial arts, or at least I can teach people that and can do martial arts, but man, I'm bad at business.
Definitely very good at teaching.
Thank you. But, when it comes to like that type of business, that's, like those toxic sales, those predatory sales things, man, I just can't do it. It just makes me uncomfortable.
I think we're blessed with being in the pure universe where they don't do that stuff.
No,
they've been very successful not. So
it's so weird to me. I just don't get it. And I've seen it. I've literally, there was a silly story. I went to, in order to try and drum up a little bit more business and see how things, could kind of like improve in my own karate school with one of my other shihans or whatever. I went to a convention or small meeting in some fucking hotel lobby, of a bunch of other big, martial arts chain school owners, like Tiger Shulman-y type people, but he wasn't there. It was more like your other local guys that are too big for their britches. And man, the first thing they tell me, raise your prices, right? And I'm just like, to what? And at this point in time, it's 2011? They wanted me to charge them $250 for karate. No MMA, no this, no that. And I looked at him and I knew like where I was and what part of the mall. I was in Flanders, dude.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if I up it to that's crazy talk, And then they're just going through all kinds of slides, build this, how to drum up sales, marketing this, marketing that, this, that, And I'm just sitting there, and the entire time I'm just like, this shit sucks. Like, this is not what I'm into at all. I just rather sit and have a conversation with people. Hey, you into this? Yes, no, maybe. Okay, see you later. Bye. If not, that's what makes me a bad business person. But it's just like, I'd rather, it makes more sense in my mind if they find me, like, this is what you're looking for. Okay, here I am. Would you like to do this? I'm doing this. Like I can open the door and give you a little wave. Come on through. I'll even hold your hand. But if you don't want to like come through, I'm not going to pressure you. I'm just going to be like, hey, bye. Okay, cool. I got stuff to do.
But never having owned a school myself, right? I can tell you this. I know you're teasing. I'm a bad businessman, but actually, I would say you are ethical and actually a good businessman, because here's why. Being in sales, I've only been in sales for 2 years now, but what they teach you is when you make the best sale is when you're helping. You help solve a problem. So for you, if you are building the environment that you wanted as a team, you're going to attract those customers. So even if you're not as big as the take your dough guy, right?
Yeah.
At some point, you're gonna grow because you're authentic, and that guy's a fucking scumbag.
You're not wrong, and those people I feel like are getting more found out these types of days. But man, you still see them pop up.
They still exist.
They still exist, and people still go there. And there's nothing wrong with going there. If that's what you want to do, go do it, and understand what it is. It's fine. Martial arts, plain and simple, isn't for everybody at all capacities. Even at that, I mean, we do welcome everybody. It's a silly little yin yang thing. It's for everybody, but it's not for everybody. Like
anyone can do it, but
everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome, even some of the weirdos. But like, then if it's not for everybody at the same time, it's just like those people are just like, all right, cool. We ain't get. You're never gonna get it.
I think what you said too is like it seems kind of like a social club, like a babysitting a kids thing, and I feel like a lot of that. You're right with the parents. It's an activity for the kids to do outside the house that they can be around with friends. 100%. So it's like, and I'm sure you, especially with the karate. So I did a little bit of karate growing up too. You get kids that kind of are just there to do stuff, but they're not bought in on it. They're just going through the motions.
Those are
that's who's doing the take your money.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I enjoyed teaching kids too, but that was the most difficult. Like the ones that I could tell immediately were just there because they were being dragged by mom or dad, and they just needed to get them out of the house for a fucking hour and a half or what it was, just to go do something next to soccer, or that was out. What it mostly was when it was out of season of other sports, they'd just be like, oh, drop them off at karate, and then once football starts, they'll do football and no karate, and then that's a great business way to make money. It really screws me big time. And so it's kind of one of those things where it's just like you could see in these kids' faces they don't want to be there and they do not care. And then you see the other ones that are just like, oh, they like this. They could actually do a little something, and sometimes they love it for a long time, and I've seen some kids that are fucking good and could have been really good, and they just stop.
Yeah.
Mom, dad stop bringing them. I don't know why. I don't know. Something happens at home. Maybe they get divorced. I don't know. Like something happens. They stop bringing them, and bye, Johnny.
Yeah.
See you never. It's just like what? Like it's like, dude, you were 15. Could have been fucking killer.
How many people you think back in your jiu-jitsu history of people that the dogs are outside? Of people that trained, like got the blue belt and then just disappeared.
So many. Yeah. I was going to say that too. It's more than of what I just saw teaching, but like from growing up, from like when I was about 5 or whatever, going back and like all of the people, if like you could possibly remember that were there versus like that stayed, that didn't stay, like that's what I ended up basically doing at the karate school I was a member of for the longest time. I lasted everybody.
Yeah.
I just stayed there the longest and kept going, just marathon the whole thing, like you're supposed to do for a black belt, right? And that's exactly been just that's the way you're supposed to kind of do it, in my opinion. Marathon it just from start to finish. As long as you keep coming, as long as you keep going, it's gonna work out. Eventually, not tomorrow, maybe not even next month, but eventually you're gonna get it. Something's gonna click. You're gonna get better. You're gonna have good days, bad days, whatever it is. But like, I just was there forever, and it's been the same way with Pure. I can't remember some people that I trained with way back when, and probably most people don't even remember me when I was at Pure to start, because I looked a lot different. I was fat then still too. I started in 2018. I was fat for, like I said, 9 months or 9-10 months of that time, and then I look like this. I cut my hair. I got bald, I started changing my facial hair again, look different, So a lot of people probably don't remember me as when I was fat, and I don't honestly remember everyone that I was there with, There are some people, but definitely not. A huge amount of people just gone with the wind eventually, just gone, just out, and it happens. And some people are really good too. You're just like, wow, you could also do something. You get this shit, and then gone, or somebody that's been training. Like, there's so many people that are there that have been training longer than I have been training, and it's just like, you're still a purple belt? Yeah. You're still a brown belt? What happened? You take 3 years off. You take this, you do that, you're inconsistent. It's all right. I get it. Real life happens. Yeah. But it's just like, no, and that's what you see. You bypass somebody. Some people fall behind. You go past. Yeah, it's a whole life ecosystem thing.
I like that. Yeah. It is interesting because when you were saying about the kids that didn't want to be there, they were just there for off season. The first thing that came to my mind is like, yeah, but that's not how you get better at anything.
Absolutely
right?
not.
Especially any type of MMA.
And then their parents would bitch and moan when I wouldn't want to promote these damn kids. And it's just like, he was here for 3 weeks. He doesn't remember nothing, what do you want?
It is fun with the journey too, because some people will get promoted quicker than you due to their merit, right? But it's like you said, if you just stick around, you're gonna get there. If you try,
yes,
you get there.
That's part of it. Also, you do need to try, And that, like, whenever when I started when I was like 5 or 6 or whatever, like, I never felt like I started it and I'm just like, oh, this is fun. I like this. Again, I want to be a fucking Power Ranger. And then when I got to about like 10 or 12 or something like that, I'm just like, all right, kickboxing, like full contact, this is the way. I want to beat somebody up, at that point, and just like, that's how I like to have fun every now and again. Like, let's go fight our friends. That sounds fun to me. Yeah, I'll kick my friend's ass way harder than somebody else that I don't know. Fuck that guy.
Oh, that's funny.
That's so funny. The community that we have, man. It's so funny how that's fun, and it's true. It is fun, man.
It's fun. If I say this to like everybody that I train with, and it came from teaching kids classes too. If you have one of the most important things, if you want to keep training martial arts, or if you start training martial arts, or if you've been training martial arts for however long, is you have to still be having fun with it. Yeah. If you're not having fun with it, stop. Like, there's no point if you're not having fun, in my opinion, at least. I agree. Yeah. Like, and again, you won't be having fun all the time. Some things are difficult. Some things are hard. But like, again, eventually those difficult or hard things will get more fun after a while, like the learning process of doing it, the teaching process of doing it. All of it is still fun to me. To others, certain things are fun, certain things are not fun. And then you can, pick and choose what you want to do. Nobody forces you to do anything, which is very nice about our culture as well. So, like, again, as long as you're just having the baseline of fun, do whatever you want, train however you want, with whatever you want. If you want to do McDojo, take your do karate, go for it. But as long as you're having fun doing it, as long as you understand the reality behind it too, don't do energy blast stuff. But let's still have fun with this. Same thing with jiu-jitsu, same thing with Muay Thai. Whatever you decide to train, you got to still be having fun with it. If you're not having fun, you got to think about why you're doing this. If you should still keep doing this, and like, just from there. Because you got to keep it at least a little fun. And again, that comes from teaching kids class, man. Because if I'm teaching some 6-7-year-old and they're not having fun, go take a seat, kid. Get out of my class. Come put a smile on, and then we'll talk. It's just not how I was going to conduct my kids' classes. Like, you got to have fun. And the reason behind it is because this is your outlet. This is the hour where you're not at home, where you're not wherever your parents are fighting, or you have your problems here, you have your problems at school, your fucking bully, even if it's not your bully, your teacher, your whatever, just life being out there trying to figure it out as a little kid or as a young adult. It's just like, this is the hour-ish that you have where outside doesn't matter. And it's just like, you can forget. You can just kind of put it to the side, because you can focus on martial arts. You can focus on getting a little bit better. You can focus on having a little bit of fun, whatever you're doing. But the bullshit outside, you can just keep it outside. And then when you go put your shoes on and step out the door, it's just like, oh, okay, the crippling realities of life set in. And then it's just like, all right, well, you still gotta come back the next day and you do jujitsu. You come back the next day, do karate, whatever it is. And you get that hour of outlet and you just put the bullshit out. And that's so important, especially for kids, but also for regular old people, regular good old-fashioned adults. You need that outlet. And what that outlet can be is jujitsu, martial arts, to whatever capacity. It could be another outlet of mine, putting headphones in and listening to loud music, going to a crazy show, going to hang out and chit-chat with your buddies. But you need an outlet so you can actually, like, take a, go play basketball, whatever. It's boring to me, but go do something that's fun to you, that's an outlet. And again, take the bullshit out of your life for an hour and you'll feel at least a little bit better.
Absolutely.
And like, that's what I said in my kids' classes, like, you need to be having fun. I teach all the fighters. Same thing with every fighter that even that I corner. I know it's like, especially with somebody like Rios or Brandon or Billy or anybody like that are professional fighters. Of course, it's a business thing now too. It's kind of like a career path that they're kind of looking down to, but you still gotta have fun with it.
Absolutely.
If it is so stressful and you hate this fucking thing you're about to go do, what are we talking about here, man? You're not gonna put you'll put everything you can into it, but if you're not having fun with it, get out of town.
Well, that's
Just
what
get out of here.
that's what Rios and Bernard were talking about a couple episodes ago. Was after Brandon's last amateur loss, they had that fun in the hospital. Right? It was crazy.
Yes,
but he needed it
so
because he's
silly.
Yeah.
Silly little idiots running around.
Silly goose.
Atlantic City.
I think
Can't contain them.
you can't contain those guys. But that is I'm trying to remember from that last episode if Brandon and Alex were talking about you telling them that to have fun. Because,
I tell them all the same thing. I'm just like, and it's like when I'm cornering fighters, literally while we're in the back, I'm just like, ready to have some fun? Ready? You having fun? We cool? Like, as nervous as some of the fighters get, without naming any names, Molly, like, as nervous as some of these people get, like,
I'm sure it's nerve-wracking, though.
You're about to go fucking kill somebody, or try to at least, and they're going to do that to you, too. Yeah, I'm nervous, too. Anytime I went out and fought in kickboxing fights or go out in jiu-jitsu matches or whatever, I'm fucking nervous, too. I'm a nervous goddamn wreck. I'm thinking about all kinds of crazy shit, and you got to... Over time, you find ways to kind of deal with it, and better and worse ways to kind of work with it. But again, like, being that nervous, you got to have somebody in the corner that's just like making sure you're having fun, making sure it's a nice time, making sure you're not too stressed out, helping you out, doing whatever needs to be done. And that's kind of that. And more importantly, I ask them while we're training, when you're going to go fight, like, hey, we having fun? We still having fun with this? Especially if you're down on yourself and you're saying, man, I hate fighting, I hate doing this. Hey, you having fun? Yeah, yes, it is good. Yeah, okay, all right. We are having fun.
We got our baseline. We got the fun part.
Okay, that's fine.
Minimum requirement.
Exactly, the minimum requirement we can deal with. We can get the rest. We can build a little bit more technique. We can build a little bit more confidence as long as we're having a little bit of fun. If we're not having fun, go take a seat. When you put a smile on, I'll come talk to you. I treat you like one of those fucking 8-year-old kids. Get out of here. Crisscross applesauce in the corner and put a smile on until you're ready. Come on, kids.
Love it. When off air before we started, I was about to ask you what it is that you love so much about the cornering aspect when you're coaching, right? But now I want to ask you it here. Is it the psychology of it? Is it being the teacher, the leader, or like what is it? Because it sounds like you get into their heads in a good way before the fight happens.
One main reason, you get the best seats in the house. you get right there, ringside, cage side, all that stuff. The only other person that's got a better seat is the ref. So that's next step. I want to try that one day. But no, honestly, for that, it's just, I feel again, it's like a logical progression of martial artist, like that's the only I'll stress it again. That's the only thing I've been halfway decent at since I was 5 years old, just doing karate, doing this, doing that. So I feel like I'm just trying to go through a logical progression. And like over the years, it's just like, okay, I feel better. I feel more comfortable teaching. that's kind of what I should do. My name ain't gonna be in fucking lights or anything like that. UFC career has kind of bypassed me. I got too fat during that point in time, so don't do that, you know, don't get depressed and do all this stuff. But, you know, any type of like martial arts athletic career kind of is like basically by the wayside at that point. So what's the next logical kind of thought? Business, teaching. How do you do this? Okay, I think in your and again, like your progression of black belt, or how they like to kind of describe it, is once you get to black belt, you're a master of fundamentals, right? Well, what do you do then? Well, you pass on the fundamentals. That's your responsibility to keep the martial arts alive and all those things and whatnot, you know? But that is kind of how I want to treat it, because it's something I can pass down to somebody. And going back to that outlet bit, if this is your outlet and this is something you enjoy, I can pass something down you like, you know? You'll remember that. You'll enjoy that. You'll keep coming back to that, you know? And that's kind of what, again, I enjoy that part of it. That's part of why I keep going as doing this, you know? I get to be somebody's escape, you know, somebody's, you know, outlet for the most part, an enjoyable bit, you know, for an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, where they can just, you know, do the thing that they enjoy most. Martial arts, whatever it is, you know? So I think it's like that next kind of logical progression, you know, being that instructor, being that trainer, going to corner, you know, if these people are now serious about like the realities of fighting and want to take it into competition, all right, dude, I'm right behind you. Let's go. You know, like having competed before, both in, again, some point style karate and more full contact karate when I was a little older and such, and in jiu-jitsu competitions at pretty much every belt when I did it. Like, I just enjoy the competition part of it, you know? I mean, at this point in time, I don't give a damn whether I win, lose, or draw. That's not the point of it to me anymore. I'm not going to be making a career again out of my athleticism or anything like that. But it's out there, again, because I feel like it's fun. You know? It's a little bit of fun going out there and risking it, you know? It's and like risking a little bit when it comes to fighting, getting that little like excitement, that adrenaline rush, that's crazy adrenaline rush, you know? It's exciting. It's fun. It's a good time, you know? It hurts. It has the potential for being damaging, this and that. But I don't give a damn. Like, you gotta go out there and have as much fun as you can, even if you get beat up, you know? It's part of it, you know? That's part of this, you know what you're signing up for at the end of the day, too. And that's something where I try and talk to people about how they deal with nerves in the back, too. It's like, you want to be here. Like, you think this is, again, fun in some capacity. You could have said, nah, I'm cool. I don't want to do this stuff. I'm over it. You didn't want to have to, nobody forces you to compete. You don't need to do this for money. We're in a nice place where hopefully that's not the case or anything. And, you know, you got to be able to have fun with it and understand, you know, the possible consequences of this. But it's risk. It's risk. Yeah. It's so much fun. It's like it's a roller coaster, man. You know, but it's all the aspects, the fun parts of a theme park, where it's just like, all right, I'm waiting in line. You were waiting in line with my buddies, bullshitting. Look how high that thing is. You know, I don't think the birds go up that high. All that bullshit. You move in line. You see this stupid little kid over here, just be like, I want to get on if I were you. I want to do that, but you just, you know, you egg people on, and then you sit down and you start going, oh god, we're gonna start moving. We're gonna start going, and it starts, you know what I'm saying? It's that progression of like, and then all of a sudden you go down that thing, and it's like, oh my god, this is so much fun. I'm gonna do this 10 times in a row, you know, whatever. And that's how it at least feels for me. But there are also roller coasters aren't for everybody.
That's actually because I always like to ask fighters that go into the cage what it feels like, and everyone has their own way of describing it. But that was perfect, because there's always going to be the nerves, right?
Yeah.
You know the risk.
Yeah.
But then once you go down that first hill, it's like, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. And once you go down that first hill, it's just like, I'm here. I'm on the roller coaster. We may as well do our best enjoying this, or we're gonna fucking pass out and, you know, go crazy and be on some viral internet video or something like that, you know. Or you can put your hands up in the air and go, trying to lift your wife's hands up in the air because she's scared shitless, whatever you want, so
That's funny.
that's what I try and do. Just try and embrace it, because again, I feel like if you embrace the nerves a little bit too, that's going to ultimately help you. All right.
Absolutely.
I could be 100% completely wrong. I don't know. I'm a big fan of saying that. I don't know. Everybody's different, but from what I can tell over cornering and also be going through it, sitting in the corner on your phone is not a good idea.
No.
Sitting quietly, hunched over, all, with a frowny face on, trying to look tough and stay, at least a little warm. Nah, it's not. It's sitting. The way I handle it is sitting riffing with my boys. Sitting riffing with you guys. Chit chat, chatty Cathy bullshit. Or if there's nobody there, put my headphones in and listen to comedy. I don't listen to my preferred.
Shit.
I don't listen to my preferred death metal before a fight. No. I get too amped before. I don't listen to too much death metal before fights. It's mostly like stand up comedy or comedy podcasts or some shit like that.
That's so fucking cool. Yeah, why not just chill?
It just because then you got to also focus on the jokes. Listen, if I want to get the punchliners, you got to take your mind off of being scared shitless about to fight this dude that's got a 6-pack and looks way bigger than you.
You know what's funny though? I bet you if you ask that guy in that time, right? He's not going to tell you, but afterward, that guy is also nervous. Everyone forgets that. That guy's nervous as shit too.
That was a miracle bit of advice from fucking Brandon that he just said one day to, I think it was Molly, and I was right there, and I was just like, why didn't I ever say this to you, Brandon? That's genius. Yeah, your opponent's preparing for you as well. And it's just like, oh yeah.
Didn't he bring that up?
He brought that up.
Was that an Alex quote?
I don't know who it was, but Brandon told it to me, so I'll give him fucking credit. And I'm just like, that was like stroke of genius there, Brandon, or whoever said it. I'm just like, I wish you said that to me in the back. Like, damn, you're 100% right. That guy over there is nervous too. I just never envisioned them being totally nervous. Yeah. All of the stuff that replays in my head, the million times that I lose, the sometimes that I win, whatever.
Always focus on ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. It's never about the other guy being nervous. It's just that's that. And I'm just like, huh. He's got something to him. He's one of the smart ones. Yeah. Maybe.
Just not an AC.
Yeah. Hey, we all have our bits of wisdom, all right?
Yeah.
All right? I'm not that smart either, but I had some good quotes once in a while.
What's your typical walkout song?
Oh, it's been changing out for a few years, but the last one I went out to was Make a Move by Peeling Flesh. Yes, I always go out to some brutal slamming death metal that nobody really knows or listens to. It's underground. That's my scene, man.
Nice.
I've always been into metal, basically. That's where I get the nickname, Metal Mike. That's what it is.
When did you get the nickname?
Dude, going back to people that come and go throughout training, it was some one-off, dude. I have no idea who they are. I couldn't tell you what they even look like.
Was this back in Crowd days?
No, it was back in Pure days. Like I was just starting to get back into the swing of teaching, for the most part. Like I think. What had happened? Oh, the pandemic happened, and
that thing.
and
pandemic
Andy,
1. We might have 2 coming up.
I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
The world sucks. This is the hour where you can let go. Fuck the world. Yeah, so Andy was looking for somebody to teach a Friday night class, and I was just like, I'll try it. Why not? And I mean, if I'm gonna run class, I'm gonna put my music on. That's it. That's my one non-negotiable. I will be myself in class, plain and simple. If I'm running class, I will be myself. That's that, and that's probably why I also enjoy teaching martial arts. It allows me to be me. So I will at least express that point of myself when it comes to teaching. A little bit of a music background. I don't give a damn what you guys like. This is my goddamn class. I'm joking.
No, but you know what? It helps.
You know how many complaints I've gotten over the years? No one likes my music, and I'm fine with that. I can accept that, and it's not.
People have actually complained to you.
Yeah. What is this? All those silly little things. Nobody's probably really serious. Maybe Joe is because he's tired of it. In the I don't know. He's got to sit through a lot, so whatever. But yeah, I've always been that way about it. And
so someone random person at jiu-jitsu?
Some random person at Pure came in for a class, and he's like, "Oh, Metal Mike, okay, cool." And I'm just like, that's it.
There we go. That's a win.
Just like, we'll take that one. And ever since then, I don't know if I've seen the guy since. I don't know where he's been. Doesn't matter.
Do you remember the face?
I couldn't tell you. This was like probably, again, 6 years ago. Yeah,
you know what? I got to say, that was his purpose. His purpose was to come into your class to give you that nickname.
Exactly. He was a one-off guy. And I'm just like, okay, sweet. Thanks. Whatever your name was. Bye, dude. Thanks for the nickname. I'll take it. And just run it since then. It's a nice little moniker, little metal mic. Sure. All right, sweet. There's too many buzzsaws or everybody's the pit bull in MMA. Oh my god, no, fuck that. I don't want to be the pit bull or the whatever. No, I'll be metal mic. That's more fun. That's like cool. That I like it. So screw everybody else.
It fits you perfectly.
I'll take it.
So when did you start getting into like kickbox fighting?
Around kickboxing, around about 13-ish, something like that. Yeah. Like I started watching, like again, I started watching more realistic martial arts that spawned from watching pro wrestling, doing this, doing that, and I saw like boxing, of course, like every kid does, and I'm just like, oh, what is this? Let me go to the video store, let me have my, internet time, that, and I was totally unmonitored again, and I would look up Japanese hardcore pro wrestling, and I'm just like, oh shit, that's a lot of blood. That's awesome. I want to see more of this type of stuff. And eventually, again, like you make a little progression, you see these things, and I'm just like, do I like know anybody that does this? Because again, karate and all this stuff is still adjacent to that. So when I was training at about like, I don't know, I had been 11, maybe 10 years old, there was another black belt that was more into kickboxing, and he kind of like took me under his wing a little bit, and I started doing a little kickboxing with it, and then it started to grow a little bit into the time that the karate school was running. Again, I was 14, 13 at this time, and like they started doing kickboxing classes again, and they started having more of like a little following, and then because I was into it, a few of the other kids got into it, and then it kind of just spawned from there. So when I was like 13, 14, I said I wanted to start looking to kind of compete. So I want to start looking for fights. And 15 years old, I started fighting. Wow. I had my first kickboxing fight at 15. Got my ass beat. Dude. And like,
how long were you training kickboxing at that point? A couple of years?
Yeah, maybe 2, something like that.
But this was like once a week or something like that?
Yeah, I did, I think twice a week, something like that, because I wanted it. I was just like, I know that this is, again, next logical progression in black belt bullshit. You gotta be able to fight. That was something silly that my grandmother would say. She's like, okay, if you're gonna be a black belt, you better at least know how to fight. Because someday, some kid at school probably is gonna say something stupid. Or again, now as adults, everybody notices these stupid fucking ears and wants to chit chat at the bar. And I've never had a problem with it, but it's just like, don't talk to me about my fucking ears. Please just leave me alone. Please leave me alone in the bar. I just want to enjoy watching whatever I'm watching, hanging out,
It's such a weird conversation to have about someone's ears, bro. Yo, your ears, bro.
Hey, you train? Do you UFC? Do you fight?
UFC is my favorite.
Yeah.
It's called MMA.
I guess I do. I don't know.
No, I'm not signed to the UFC.
I don't know how to answer this question.
So, 15, you had your first fight, got your ass kicked.
Yeah. Fought to a draw.
Did you do fighting in karate?
It was more point style, like karate at that point.
What was that? Was it a shock for you when you did your first kickboxing fight as opposed to point fights?
So yes and no. I think everybody is always shocked at their first encounter, regardless of what time you're doing this in. As unless you are like already game to the fact. Like I was an only child, so I never had the growing up with brothers and fighting my brothers or anything like that, like some of my friends have or anything. So I did though. As in preparation and growing up into this, like I was like vetted, I guess you could say, as one of the kids that wanted it. Like there were kids that wanted to stay in the point starring, stay and doing the kata shit, and I was just like, nah, I want to fight somebody.
Let's scrap.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just always like that game kid. But again, like you fight your first fight, it's still shocking. Your nerves are still going, and it's just like, yeah, I fought to a draw, but it was like crazy. I definitely got my ass beat.
You fought
up.
to a draw?
Yeah. It was a draw.
Yeah, ass beat.
Dude, absolutely. It was definitely like a whatever, like silly little tournament thing, and like definitely they were just like drawing all of the kids or whatever. But like, I got my ass.
It was
there's
no losers.
handed to me. Yeah, exactly. It's something like that. And I'm just like, I just remember I fought terrible. Like I lost my balance. I tried throwing whatever I could. I don't obviously remember anything that happened from then, but it's just like I just remember the feeling of like almost like drowning, and I'm just like, like what is happening? It's all happening so fast, 1,000 miles an hour, and it's just like I definitely hit the kid a few times. I know he hit me. So I couldn't tell you because it's also like super fast because they were trying. It was like a silly tournament that I was saying, and they were already running late as every tournament does ever, and it's just like they were running massively late. So they're just like, all right, it's not 2-minute rounds anymore. It's 1 minute. 1 minute, 3 rounds. Okay, let's go. Boom, boom, boom. Done. So it was a 3-minute total fight. Raise both hands, move it along. Next guy's up. Raise both hands, move it. That type of shit. And it's just like, all right, well, we got to beat each other up for a few minutes. And that was my first one. Yeah, and then I had a few more after that. I think I won my third fight or whatever it was.
Nice.
I lost my first 2 and won my third, at that point, So it's how that goes, and then you just take off from there. You win some, you lose some, you go through it, and you try and still like it at the end of the day.
Yeah. so I would say you would definitely like. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good.
The fact that you're fucking laughing at how you got your ass handed to you.
Dude, you can't take yourself too seriously either. And you also like I'm fairly self-aware. When it comes to some things, like I just gotta be honest with myself here and there. Like especially too, that's what I was saying. What helps my nerves is thinking about all these outcomes. It's just like I might go out there and beat the Christ out of this guy. That's the best outcome. Awesome, great. I might go out there and get totally outclassed and embarrassed and look like a fucking idiot, get hurt, do this, that's totally within the realm of possibilities. And that's that, you just got to be honest with yourself, I feel. And I feel like, however, I've seen some crazy delusional people and some of them have success. So I don't know. I can't explain to you why. This is just how I handle it.
MMA math is not normal.
No, none of this shit adds up.
No.
It's weird.
So 15 you were fighting through, and then so you still do kickboxing fighting. I can't say it.
You can do it.
Kickboxing fighting fights.
Yeah.
So I think I always ask you when your next fight's coming up. So that's what you plan on doing next?
Yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing next. I've been chit-chatting with Andy, trying to get myself some type of Muay Thai fight or something like that. And up until then, it's competition because it's off to the races now. Man, I had to go through a little bit of an injury thing a few years back, and now I am ready and raring to go. Turns out that little accident that happened to me changed my life forever in a good way. So, but it could have been like I could have gotten depressed real quick again. That shit happens. So
what accident?
So I ended up breaking my ankle actually. Yeah. I ended up breaking my right ankle at a death metal show. It was awesome. I went to silly story. I went to Baltimore, Maryland for a 3-day brutal death metal fest. It was called Hell on the Harbor. It's basically the Maryland Death Fest.
Is that every year?
There is one every year. It was the one year that they didn't call it the Maryland Death Fest, and it's 3 days of death metal, plain and simple. Outside, in between the alleys of like 2 buildings from I can't remember the sound stage and something else, So it's
my favorite part about this is it's like a bunch of homeless people around it too.
Dude,
my friends went to it. I met them down there.
I'll get to that. Oh,
it's fucking,
dude,
it's a paint the picture. It's
area.
Death metal and then like homeless hood. It's like.
Yeah, it's a wonderful area.
It's completely crazy contrast. So sorry,
no, you're right.
Sorry for interrupting, but
no, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Again, the realities.
It's wild.
Yeah, it is wild. And again, you're in between 2 buildings, and it starts at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's blaring fucking insane music. There had to have been. I don't know, 5,000 people, something like that, in between basically buildings and shit like that. These festivals get crazy. I love them. They're awesome. So anyways, it's 3 days of death metal. You're going there, and I think this is the second day that I was there. I was there, all day, all night, moshing, doing the thing, having a good time. Again, this is also part of my outlets, so this is my time to hang out, and beat the shit out of some innocent person in the mosh pit. It's a fun time. It's part of the scene, man. And so then
you signed up for that.
You do.
It's like signing up for a fight.
You got to know what you're walking into. That's part of the scene. Keep your head on a swivel so you don't catch a stray. Look out for the mosh pit. It comes at you quick, and that's exactly what happened.
So before you continue, you got to explain someone who's never been in a mosh pit before.
Right.
What are the etiquette or not etiquette, it seems like, of the mosh pit?
Yeah, well, it depends on a little bit of the scene of what you're seeing. All of the again, an equation we can kind of understand maybe is like how we classify jiu-jitsu or grappling and striking and Muay Thai. It's like, okay, you got grappling, judo, wrestling, striking, this weird one, this, that, and you got striking, you got like kung fu, you have all the taekwondo, Muay Thai, all those little sub-genres of what striking and grappling is. It's the same thing for like metal and stuff like that. You have what's considered metal, any of the things that are like Black Sabbath, this, that, and then you have things that like spawned kind of from that, like what influenced this, what influenced this. I love death metal, plain and simple, and that's from like a little bit of like mix of this, mix of that. So it depends on what subgenre you're listening to is how kind of aggressive this mosh pit could possibly get, Some of these ones are like more like hockey checking each other, like running into each other, just like slamming and this and that, and others are full blown beat down. I will beat the Christ out of you, throwing down, like throwing.
You must fuck a lot of people
and get fucked up too. There are some big dudes out there throwing uncontrolled spin and shit, dude. Like just spinning around in a circle, doing spin kicks, throwing elbows. Dude.
But this is fun,
dude. It's awesome. It's so exhilarating. And like you gotta be careful in some of these things. There are fucking there are pit ninjas jumping around, fucking throwing kicks, throwing elbows. There are Vikings running around, fucking slamming into dudes. Like fucking, it's
Vikings,
great.
That makes sense.
Yes, yeah. So you got all kinds of maniacs going in there. You got crowd surfers fucking jumping onto you. You got stage divers in some spots. I love the small intimate shows where there's like little to no security, where it's the self-policed kind of crowds and shit like that. And it's just like, all right, we're about to throw down with that guy over there, and like that.
Have you been to Starland?
Yeah. I was there about a month ago. Yeah.
I was there I don't remember who it was. I was with a bunch of buddies, and like band comes on and the whole crowd just shifts forward. And I was like, I went back to the bar. They were in the middle. My buddies I with were like 6'4", and like big dudes. I'm like, I'm good. I just remember seeing like the assembly line of them running on the stage and jumping off.
Yeah,
and
it was like circle. Oh my god!
It just looked like a merry-go-round of these people jumping in and getting back off. It was awesome. So
I've been to a few spots too. Again, where there's like no security too. There's no like crowd control barricades or anything either. So you can just get on the stage, and then you just front flip off into other people. That's it. They catch you, or you hope they catch you, and if they are not paying attention, you just fucking land on you. That's part of the scene, and it's just like, be careful, man. You can stand in the back. Nobody's going to judge you for standing in the back. That's okay. Yeah. That's part of it. You don't have to get involved. It's a little fun if you do get involved. Once in a while. I take my breaks in the mosh pit every now and again. Through some songs, but then some songs just like,
that's my shit. Let's go.
I'm gonna beat somebody up. Let's just go. Just push somebody.
And everyone's fine with it.
If you're in it,
you sign up for it.
You sign up for it. But again, some people do get a little emotional. I can't say that there are times where some big dude cracked me, and it's like, dude, like, whoa, watch yourself. And then but again, there's etiquette too. Somebody falls, pick them back up so they don't get fucking trampled. Nobody actually wants. As I say here, we're throwing bones at each other. Like we're hitting each other. We're trying to hit each other. Sometimes, like nobody actually wants to get hurt. Like nobody wants to actually hurt somebody. So like we hit somebody or the song's over. It's just like we, oh yeah, dude, nice job. Fuck yeah, you hit me good. That type of shit. Like we shake hands. We hug and stuff like that. You make a new friend.
It's
you
like
give a high five.
At the gym.
Yeah, almost, but it's a lot more uncontrolled. and there's no rules. Pads, and there's a concrete floor, and he might be really drunk. So, and you can't hear shit, and there's 50 other people running full clip at you. I've been in some fun pits. It's a good time. I recommend it. I recommend trying it at least once, and then if you don't want to, don't go. It's fine.
That's incredible.
One wall of death is cool.
Wall of death. I've seen those.
Yeah.
So how did you break your ankle?
Oh, so I was seeing bands all day long, and I decided to quit moshing for a minute, and I went behind one of these like actual like barricades. It was one that I had like hold up the bike racks and stuff like that, and I was watching again one of my favorite bands, one of the bands that got me into death metal, Cannibal Corpse. Yeah, I don't know. I'm watching them. I've seen them a bunch of times, so I'm just like, all right, I don't need to mosh. I'm gonna go hang out. I've been here all day, whatever. And they start playing, some of their, nice toe tappers, Hammer Smash Face, I Come Blood is the song that comes on next. And the mosh pit goes nuts, and it just kind of expands. And now I am like fairly far away, but the fact that it expands and a lot of people kind of like just get pushed and moved and such, that like wave of movement hits the barricade so hard that it actually tips it over. I fall backwards on my ass and it hits me in the ankle. Like it comes right down on my foot. And like I watched it happen, just bang. And I'm just like, that fucking hurt. And I'm just like, I don't think I should step on my foot. So like after a bunch of people are again getting off this thing, because it's not like it just hit me. There's like 3, 4, 5, 6 other people that are falling onto it, trying to move, lift it off my foot, with the help of some other random person that's there. And I just like butt scoot myself out of there. And I just look and I'm just trying to like hobble away, like jumping on one foot to get behind stage or whatever. I just like wave down the security. I'm just like, hey, I'm hurt. Like, I think something's wrong. And I just sit backstage for, I don't know, 10, 20 minutes, whatever it is, while they try and get me an ambulance, because they needed like 3 more that night because, this is how these fucking festivals get. People either A, get dehydrated or get too fucking drunk to handle themselves and get hurt in some way. So I wasn't one of them. Random accident. And again, going back to, it's Baltimore, Maryland at about 1 o'clock in the morning. It's a fun area over at Mercy Hospital. It's real cool.
Got some characters.
Yeah, it's a real cool spot. And yeah, they did x-rays, saw that my ankle was broken. I broke my talus bone or something like that. And I was stuck in Baltimore, Maryland. Mind you, also, no one goes to these shows with me. No one likes my music, by the way. My wife isn't going to go to these shows. She's been to me like we were once of them because I forced her to go because she made me go to a fucking Dave Matthews concert. Nice. Like we got 1 for 1 for this shit. And so I'm alone in Maryland. 4 hours away. I drove there, and this happens to be my right ankle, the gas pedal, the brake, the one you're driving with. So I'm just like, how am I going to get home? Yeah. How am I going to do anything? How am I going to get back to my hotel? How am I going to get back to, what am I going to do? My job at this point in time, too, I was teaching, of course, at Pure, but my main source of income, I was a electrical supply delivery driver. So I'm driving a fucking truck all day, How am I going to keep doing my job? What do I do? And I get very upset on the phone with my wife as I tell her exactly what happened, that I got hurt at a fucking death metal show. And that kind of actually helped redirect my life. 3 years later, and a little bit of settlement money, we're back to normal and ready to compete.
Yeah.
So,
fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Fuck yeah. Good, man. Hey, you're always coming back, right?
That's the thing. Yeah, you have to at that point too. Like I was, I got injured, and I don't know. You guys had Joe and Brandon on here at points in time too. I don't know if they mentioned anything to you about the Flow State Mexico trip. Dude, that's something that honestly changed my fucking life too. Like this ankle accident happened 2 months. 2 months before I was supposed to go on the first inaugural, trip. And literally while I'm on the phone with my wife, I'm just like, and fucking Mexico, I'm not gonna be able to do this and that. And think about a week before we went to the Mexico trip for the first time, I got off my crutches. I could go back to walking with a cane. I could do this. I could drive very, like select times or whatever, just nice and easy depending on how my foot felt. And then, that week I hopped on a plane and went to Mexico and had a quality experience, and it helped get me to understand that depression that I had been going through, that I had for a long time, and get me to see what I needed to do, what was going through my life, what was working out, and what I needed to kind of facilitate to the next step. And that's when I made the decision, I'm not working a real job anymore. I'm going to start teaching martial arts and try to follow in the path Joe kind of like carved, because I was just like, may as well try. I got nothing else to do. Is this or pumping gas? Yeah. And it gets cold out there. I don't want to fucking pump gas, man. I
You can be seasonal pump gas.
I know. It's like this or whatever, So that's kind of how it went, and I haven't looked back. I've been just.
So you went on this trip a month after breaking your ankle.
2
months. So were you light rolling then?
Yeah, I rolled for the first time in Mexico, just extremely light, being very cautious. I still didn't even do like everything, that I probably could have, and that was that. So
Wow.
Yeah, I was there for the underlying experience of what flow state is, I mean, I don't know if anybody else has explained or anything like that, but it's really, I mean, I've used the flow state experience to just get a better understanding of myself, to get a better understanding of what I should be doing as well. It's a nice, I refer to it as like a journey almost, especially with some of the things that we go through all that stuff, and that's kind of, man, that's been one of the most beneficial things that I've done in my life, to help out and to see it from that perspective. So, yeah.
Was it an immediate recognition that this is what, quit my day job, make MMA, martial arts my real job, or like what in the trip?
It was just like somebody pushed me, and it was just like, you do this, or you pump gas. Like, it's just like this or that. Do it now or don't do it at all. And I'm just like, may as well try. I'll give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen?
You already took a big risk when taking the entrepreneurial route by buying the school.
Yeah.
So this now you're doing basically that without the liability.
With some of the risk.
With some of the risk.
Yeah.
So for you, it's probably a no-brainer at that point.
It's a smart move to kind of make at that point in time, but I can't say that it wasn't difficult. I've seen other people try, and I'm not talking shit about anybody. Keep doing what you're doing and keep doing this. But I needed to just do it. Not everybody has the capability to do that. Yeah. But some people have, again, real jobs where they have, this, where they have that, where they're much more comfortable and have this. And it's just like, I didn't have those things, but I had different advantages in other spots where I just could do it. And I'm just like, I am determined to do it. And I followed a little bit of advice from Joe, was just be yourself, be somebody that you would want to hang around with, as some of your sessions. And I'm just like, that's easy. I could totally do that, it was monkey see, monkey do for me, where I'm just like, I'm walking in and getting ready for class, and I see him teaching privates, and I'm just like, why isn't anybody doing this for striking?
Yeah.
Why aren't I doing this for striking? I may as well try. It's one of those things where I'm just like, fuck it, it's old Chinese proverb, fuck it.
Yes, exactly. It's also funny you said that. It's like, why doesn't anyone do this? It's like, I feel like it's a stupidly obvious question that you asked. It's like, duh, I should do this.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? I can hold pads for a little bit, and then, but again, it's difficult. You don't start with 10, 12, 15 people. You start with 1. And then you start getting a little bit more momentum. You start with 2, and then all of a sudden time freezes at like 5. And it's just like, fuck. I keep doing this. I don't have enough to do this. I still got to go to my fucking job. I hate my job. I hate this. Just keep treading. Just keep on that fucking marathon. Just keep going forward a little bit and see where it goes, Maybe your job takes you to another spot. That's fine. You can go that route. Maybe you get another few privates, and all of a sudden you're making more than what you were making at this job, and it's just like, what am I going to do? Then the accident happens, and it's like, well, I may as well try. I may as well just keep trying and see where it goes. The worst that happens is I go back to another job. And sure, I don't want that to fucking happen. No. So I'm going to do everything that I can to not allow it to happen. And that was 3 years ago. And we're on it, man. We're trying it. We're trying, man. I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but something's working.
It's like you said, as long as you're keeping one foot in front of the other.
Yeah. You just got to keep going at least a little bit with it. So.
The ankle accident, if I'm understanding this correctly, was that like a psychological helping, or was it because you literally couldn't drive the truck, so you were making?
They fired me.
Oh, they fired me.
Yeah. I couldn't come back to work in time anyways. Like, I ended up getting surgery for my ankle and all kinds of shit. So it took me a good solid 2 months, and that job was like, all right, I didn't want this job. I wasn't doing my best at it either. That's also what makes me a bad employee sometimes, or a bad former salesperson. I used to work in sales as well. If I do not care about something, I do not. I won't try. I won't. It's just not in me. I used to try and sell, they wanted me to be a salesman for like a micro chip company almost, like a vendor that did small electronic things that are inside your fucking phone, I don't even know. And that's because I didn't even care. I didn't want to learn about any of this shit. And they wanted to make me do this. And that's why I'm just like, I don't like this. You go to this job that I know is a dead-end delivery driver job, and it's just to if I can pay some bills, and it's just to this, and it's just like, all right, I'm making more money when I'm doing privates. I don't give a damn what time I show up. They still pay me the same, all right, I clock in, I'm supposed to be there at 8:30, it's fine, Why are you here so late? I was at jiu-jitsu. I tell them, I didn't care. It's just like, fire me at that point, and, well, they did after I broke my ankle. I dared them hard enough. But then they helped you. It was great. Thank you. I can work my dream.
Literally, it's almost like something that you alluded to in the beginning, but it's almost like that was their way, that was like the universe's way of just pushing you out of that job, right? You broke the ankle, they fire you, and now you kept going, right? You kept trucking on. So
good thing I like death metal, man.
Yeah,
good thing I like fucking death metal.
Right?
Saves my goddamn life.
That is why you're gonna play that shit every fucking one of your classes.
That's the reason, man. Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's funny, not funny. Funny is not the right word. It's cool to see how you've been doing this since you're 5, man.
Yeah.
Martial arts is you. That's why it's perfect. It's great that you took that step because it's literally like you said, you hated everything else. So fuck that, but you don't hate this.
Yeah.
So this is
so try and stick with it. But the thing is, forever too, people have told me since I was a kid, my fucking parents even too, they didn't want it to be my career, as in the fighting aspect, which I get from a parent's perspective. That's a fair point. You don't want to see your fucking kid get hurt or and again, we kind of know the realities as adults when it comes to fighting. It's a fairly hard spot to make money in, and of course maintain, your money afterwards, as any sports athlete, they see you fucking blow it and then they're, doing whatever they need to afterwards, So it's very difficult to make money in this scene unless you do something else. But when I was young, the teaching aspect didn't really click until I was a little bit older and such. And that's where it's like, okay, there's stupid jokes between my dad and the former owners. Oh, one day he'll own this place. One day he'll own this place. And then it's just like, yeah, it happened. For better or for worse. It sucked how I had to do how it had to go down. But it's just like, hey,
it was a growing pain.
Yeah. You learn how to fail. You gotta fail sometimes. It is what it is, and you just gotta how you deal with it as well. Also shows you a little bit, and shows the others around you as well, how you're going to bounce back. Do you just kind of fucking accept it and die in this failure, and this is what defines you, or do you say fuck that shit and just keep going and try and be the best that you can be from it and grow from it as well. So
and that definitely you could transmit to the fighters that you coach because it's the same fucking thing. You lose, what are you gonna do? You gonna sit down and cry and fucking hope, or are you gonna get back and fucking win?
You're allowed to sit down and cry for a little bit, but come back. You know, it's okay. I understand that. It's totally fine. And that's that. And man, it even happens with me too. Of course, when I go out there and try and compete, oh man, I don't want to lose. I don't want everybody to hate me. I'm gonna lose privates if I lose, and this and that. All kinds of stupid shit.
Just telling
all
yourself
kinds of stupid shit that I know is not true. I know. I'm so bad, but I know. But that's what everybody starts to. I know, and it's just that's what you tell yourself, and you fucking psych yourself out. No, nobody's opinion is going to change. Your wife's still going to love you. Your friends are still going to love you, and if they don't, then they weren't probably good enough friends with you after. When it comes to it, you just let it go. And competition should be for yourself. Doing it for yourself, and eventually, of course, if you can make a career out of it, that's a different story. That's that you can come to as well, Well,
it's a good thing the most two recent competitions for jiu-jitsu, you won.
Yes, yeah, I'll take a win. I'll take the win. The OG. Yeah. Hey, I'll take the wins where I can get them. I still think I stink at jiu-jitsu, but I'll take it.
I don't think that feeling ever goes away. I always think that.
I don't think so either.
You always do, and then until you realize that the reason why you think you suck is because everyone else is also getting better with you.
That's true. That is true. But I don't know. I just feel like some days I'm just don't get it one day. There's still moves I don't get. I'm just like, damn, this guy knows everything, you know?
It's
like, why, when did he learn this? Like, I've been in class all the fucking time.
My favorite is last Friday we came to Sam and I came to your noon class.
Oh, yeah?
No, sorry, it was Monday.
Yeah.
I was away last Friday.
Yeah.
I wasn't even in the state. So we came Monday, and I'm like, man, I suck. I can't teach. You're teaching, I forget what move it was. It wasn't anything.
It was like the half guard pass.
Yeah. Solid, nice technique. Nothing crazy, but nice, solid technique. I'm like, I don't think I could teach that. I don't think I remember the full moves to do. I'm like, I've been doing this for 12 years, and I feel stupid I can't even teach. So, like, you're saying that, and I'm like, I'm saying this watching you.
Thank you. First off, I appreciate that. But then again, like, you have to... having certain advantages and when you learn how to teach, like I learned teaching kids, and that's an audience you cannot fucking fool. You know, a 6-year-old will call you out like it's no problem in front of other 6-year-olds. Be like, "What do you mean like that?" And it's like, all right, like I mean this, and you have to explain yourself or lie through your teeth somehow, and try and understand it. And if you can dumb it down, I don't mean to say it that way, but it's just like if you can explain it to a 7-8-year-old and then explain it to my oldest student was like 60 or something like that. In a similar fashion, it's kind of just like things just like click. You start getting a little rhythm on when you start teaching. You start getting these stupid little jokes, these little things that, you remember that somebody told you, or like, how would you describe it to somebody else? I would say this stupid little joke here, and that way you get to remember these things. I can give you a hardcore breakdown of like, do this technique, put your foot here this way, that way, whatever. Or, I can give you a silly little saying, and just be like, the hips and grips, stupid little rhymes, like whatever they
I think that's, the Eddie Brolly 10th Planet method. I think Billy was talking about it. They have the weird code names and stuff. It's like a zombie guard. And, but it's the same thing. They have those weird, quirky things that like, it just makes sense.
Yes. You're not wrong about that at all. Yeah.
It is a bit much.
Some of it is a bit much.
It's not like, we have them here. It's everything. It's like, let's take this and go to
it's still the same thing with speaking in Japanese too. Like, again, I can appreciate the understanding of it. I can appreciate the vocabulary. I had it when I was in karate too, but sometimes it's just like, man, put your foot here.
Like, when people say all this stuff, I'm like, I don't fucking know what you're talking about.
Dude, it's like all the names.
I'm a black belt saying that too. Like, put your foot here, put your arm here, and like, it kind of just works. I don't know.
Fuck it, man. It's better. The only time that I'll ever say a Japanese name is if it's like a judo throw, because I don't even know what the equivalent in English would be.
And sometimes you don't even know the English translation. It's just like, kibidachi, what does that mean? It's like horse stance or some stupid shit. It's just like, what? Okay.
For your karate, you said horse stance. I brought it back. For your karate, for your belt promotions, did you have to stand in a horse stance?
Yeah, we had to do all kinds of dumb bullshit every now and again. Like some of these things, when it comes to like those karate promotions too, sometimes they're just little money grabs to get people to pay for belts and pay for stripes and shit like that. Sometimes they have legit training in them. I feel like mine, when I was coming up when I was a kid, was starting to keep that reality based. Like, once I was like 13, you were actually like in a fight with some of the instructors. They were going like a little harder on you. Like, I got hit as a 12, 13-year-old kid by a man. And the reason behind that is, again, I agree with it and disagree with it, because I feel like that's not how you should fucking treat kids. One, it's a little tough when you crack Johnny in front of his parents and he starts crying and such and such. It's a tough look regardless, but understanding, like, as the kid going through that, like, I had a mental understanding where I'm just like, hey, I can fucking get hit by this guy who's like in his 30s, 40s, like cracking me, that's way bigger than me. No kid's gonna hit me that hard, so I'm good, and that like little confidence, regardless of how your outlet, how you perform, that heart, that gameness, that's what I developed a little bit or what you're looking for, at least when I would be testing for a black belt, at that age, just like somebody that doesn't quit, somebody that doesn't, like give up at that point. So that's kind of like what some of it has. Some of it has, like stupid little shit. I didn't go through too much of the stupid little stuff. More of the tests that I went through were like physical, do this many push-ups, do this many of this, do this, you got to be fighting on the bag for this long. You got to fight this many people. And then, then you get your black belt. Everybody gives you a hug.
I forget what mine was. I think there was some of the fighting aspect in it, but it was like you had like each belt had like a certain book or books to read.
Yeah, some make you do research, you know, and some are, if it's for kid shit, it's basically to get them to understand how to study better so they perform better in school, because that's probably why their fucking parents are bringing them here, so they, you know, don't have fucking ADHD or whatever it is, so they can pay attention more. And it's just like, that's not what I was about teaching. I would gladly teach you the martial arts history of like Weichi-Ryu or whatever, you know, that makes sense, you know, to have that little bit of knowledge and history. How, you know, we all know how fucking jiu-jitsu started with, you know, Japanese jiu-jitsu and the Gracies and this and that, you know, so understanding a little bit of that lineage, I do feel is, you know, at least important to a degree if you're interested in it. If you're just interested in like doing these things, that's fine. You can just be interested in it. There's different levels to this stuff. As long as you're enjoying, it's fine, you know. So that's kind of how I would feel. If it's like adults, a little history is nice. If it's kids, it's probably just trying to get them to be better in school. You know, and I feel like it's a little unnecessary. And it's just like, you know, it's better for like them, I would think, to get a slightly more authentic karate experience of that physical expression and that physical test. Because again, if you're going to be a black belt, if you're going to be a purple green belt, whatever in karate, it's just like, all right, put it up. Put up, shut up. You know, you better know how to at least fight, or at least know how to fucking take it. You know? For sure. You know, it'd be good, but you better not fucking quit.
This might be an obvious answer, but I'm just gonna ask it anyway.
Yeah, cool.
Why is it that kids, there's a lot more karate, taekwondo, kung fu class, but not so much Muay Thai, kickboxing?
For whatever reason, here in the United States, I guess, you just see it. I think it's a way to, you know, get kids introduced, like, get them to stand straight, get them to do this. They follow, you know, a little bit of better parenting orders, blah, 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 blah. That's how they get you in the door. And I think it gets a little pass every now and again because of the no contact point karate if they're looking to like compete or something like that, where it's just like, oh, okay, he's not going to get hurt. Oh, they're not going to get hurt. They're not actually hitting each other. That, you know, I think boxing gets a tough look when you got guys, you know, talking, mumbling with their, you know, mumbling when they talk, blinking one eye at a time, you know, and also I think but again, the reality of the hardcore nature of that, or sometimes like look in Thailand or whatever, you got fucking kids that are 4 years old competing in this stuff too. It's just a different part of the culture, and I just think sometimes people are a little more, you know, not keen to it that much. I wouldn't have any problem putting my, you know, if I had a 7-year-old into a little bit of like introduction to kickboxing and karate, getting them how to, you know, like this is how you punch and kick, but understanding like what it is we're here for, you know. And that was my thing when I was coming into karate class. I never wanted to be there because I couldn't behave in school or because it was just this. I wanted to be there to do spin kicks. I wanted to be there. I wanted to do cool shit. I thought it was fun. I thought it was cool, you know, and that's why I started doing that. So I never, for whatever reason, it just doesn't click with me when you just come to class and, you know, do the bare minimum type of shit and just go there so it just never, that part of it never clicked for me. You know, it's like we're there to train. When I first came to Pure, no offense to anybody that's there, I love the community that's there, but I had no intention of making any friends. No this and that. I was there to come to train. It fit my schedule. I wanted to train jiu-jitsu. I wanted to get better at jiu-jitsu. I wanted to get better at martial arts, and that's that. And well, now I found a lot of friends. I'll take that. That's way better. Yeah, but again, it was just like that intention of what you're looking to do, what you're doing with that, you know. And some people, you know, gravitate towards more of that karate bit for this, that, or whatever, and some people want a little bit more of that reality bit, and you know, that's fine. I want the reality bit, and I'll take it.
Yeah. What do you look for in when you're teaching in your students, right? Let's say at a Muay Thai class, what is your main goal each class? Besides having fun, you know, I mean, other than that, being clear and trying to make them just at least a little bit better, you know, trying to be clear with what I'm explaining so that how it was expressed to me or how I can express it both, you know, in my head or physically, however, that it can actually, you know, come across to you easily and palatable, you know, something that, again, you can, download in your head and then again maybe pass on as well, because that's supposed to be the way of martial arts and whatnot. I
again, want people who are in my class or who I teach to have fun. This is your outlet. I can't stress that enough, because that's what it was when I was a kid, when I was 5 years old. It was not only something that I just plain simple had a little bit of fun doing, but it was my outlet from my home life, like my home life fucking sucked when I was a kid. And this leads to like a little bit of my depression and shit like that. Like I had old parents, my mom, again, it's not like I didn't grow up without Christmas or got hit or, didn't get my presents one year or was, this or that. But, my parents weren't perfect. My mom had an unfortunate drug problem when it came to, popping a cocktail of pills, and I knew that life from when I was, I don't know, 9 years old. I started seeing her nod off and shit like that. Yeah, it was rough. And 9, dude. Yeah, 9. I'd watch this lady nod off, just like that.
I mean, to go through that, it's tough. Like, but like at 9, that's young to be able to be the wherewithal to understand what's going on.
That's when I started to see it. You know? And that's young. And parents, kids notice shit. Yeah. So be careful what you're doing around them, because they'll see, and then they won't know at that point in time. But then when they rethink their life, when they're in their 20s, and they're just like, oh yeah, I remember that. Wow, that's one of the, So yeah, having my mom unfortunately be a prescription pill addict was not a very fun childhood to be in, especially when my dad, who again, I love my dad, or at that point, like, they weren't perfect, and they didn't handle things perfectly. This was like a little embarrassment to it. So we just kind of shoved it under the rug. I never told any of my friends, never told any of my other family members. My only other family member that knew was my grandmother, who lived down the street, and I would go to, and that was part of my outlet. So I wasn't home, and then whenever I wasn't home, I'd try and be at karate. I'd try anything so I didn't have to be home. I would go to school and treat it like a job that I hated, because I didn't fucking like going to school. I didn't like any of the idiots there. I only have a few friends from like high school and college time. Like I went in, treated it like a good old fashioned 9-to-5 job, punch in, punch out, and don't get noticed as much as possible. I didn't want to be that bad kid that, I have problems at home, let me get the attention from school. No, fuck that. I just want to skate by and not be remembered. I just want to do karate. Yeah, I just wanted to punch in, punch out, get out, see ya, and then like spend an hour at home. Have to deal with whatever I have to deal with, whether, again, man, it's rough growing up like that sometimes. Again, I didn't have the worst of it. I'm sure there's other people out there that have suffered worse, but again, that's my trauma. So it's the worst thing that's ever happened to me. So, one of those things. So you have to be understanding of how to deal with it. And again, my dad just kind of shoved it under the rug. We prayed away like good Catholics and go to church every Sunday and things like that. Hope she'd get better, rather than, trying to get her into a fucking rehab and give her a goddamn intervention or something like that. And that's that all the way up until when she unfortunately passed away. And, when you grow up like that, again, I love my mom for giving birth to me. I love my mom for raising me when I was a kid. But from about like 10 and all that stuff, it's just like, this person who has been described to me by my dad, my grandmother, who was so great, who was awesome, who was this, who was that, and I just never saw that person, never did, and it's unfortunate, because I wish I could. I wish I could have some of those conversations. They wouldn't be pleasant conversations, so I really don't care about it sometimes, and I have to put that aside. It's like, it's not something that I post about all the time. I feel like with Mother's Day around the corner, I feel like a bad son saying that. It's just like, well, I don't have to. I don't know. It's not that I don't miss him, but it's just like I don't feel like I need to keep going with the relationship. I can put it behind me, and that's. Again, it sucks to say, but that's actually part of what the flow state experience and journey did for me. It said I can put my parents' death and I can put my parents' experience behind me. They're both dead. They're both dead. They're both gone. I'm never going to be able to talk to them again. I'm never going to have answers to these conversations. I'm never going to be able to ask this, that, and the third. So why bother? Keep them down. They're happy. They're both in heaven or whatever. They're happy, and let them be and continue with your life. Just move it along. And you'll be okay, because you dealt with it when it was there. Maybe it's not the best thing to do, but it's how we're going with it. So, and it seems to be, as I've done more journeys seems to be the way I should handle it. Maybe not everybody, but at least the way I'm handling it. So
it's like you said when you were going back with like the martial arts. If you like it, if that's for you, if that's what works for you, and if that is what is working for you, you shouldn't change anything, right?
Yeah.
So perfect.
Yeah.
And I would say actually too, you've addressed it, right? The flow state helped you address it. A lot of people wouldn't have even taken that step.
Dude, it's like an alternative therapy, honestly. Like I used to, like what kind of triggers this whole thing is a little bit of like almost breathing exercises, and it just kind of puts you in a state where, at least for me, and I could go into some detail, but I'd rather people get a little bit more of an intimate experience. If you want to try it, maybe you should try it, but like I'll share a little bit of it. Like it's a journey that you go through a little bit, and sometimes people have more profound journeys than others. Sometimes sometimes you see things you don't like. Sometimes it shows you the fucking truth of things, and how you actually deal with it and how you interpret it is the most important part. And if you're also willing to change, willing to actually listen to this, you can see some benefits with it. At least I did, when it came to it, and maybe it helps some people, maybe it scares some people. I don't know, but you have to at least try. If you're looking for like, I don't know, answers, or looking for if you should be doing the right thing, if you're going down the right path, that's really what what my intentions were. Am I doing things the right way? Like, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I doing them right? What's going on? How do I apply this everywhere else, after I've been journeying through this as well? Like that's the most benefits that I've gotten from it. And it's just like, hey, you got to learn from it, or at least try, at least try and sort these things out, because if not, you're going to be wondering for a while, and that's not good.
No, absolutely not. Dude, that's fucking incredible. How one ankle, breaking your ankle, getting fired, going down a flow state, realizing everything about your life, what you've been pushing down, what you've been, I guess, avoiding, so to speak. Now you're not avoiding it anymore.
Yeah.
You're now in martial arts. That's your career now, and that's your life again.
Yeah. Yeah,
fucking
I
amazing.
didn't think I had, when I walked into Pure and signed up, I had no intention of teaching. I had no intention of this, that, or whatever, other than training and just getting back into it. I was a blue belt with a few stripes on my belt, and I just kind of went for it from there. I just was like, I'm unhappy working at this sales job, working in, I was in a warehouse after that, working in a fucking sausage factory at for Italian meats and bullshit, moving boxes with forklift, unloading trucks all day, all night. It was horrible, and I'm just like, this is terrible. This is not where I want to be, so how do I facilitate myself going forward and doing this and such? So then just stuff happens, man.
Yeah.
You wait again, you stick around a little long, you keep going through some things, and life just sometimes sends you a little message, and it's just like, you know what? I'll try it. Life. Why not? What's the worst that can happen?
I'm hearing what you're saying, life. I'll listen.
Yeah.
I'll
Sometimes
listen.
Sometimes I don't want to listen, and that's where it gets you. So
yeah. Well, it's gonna keep telling you the lesson until you learn it.
Yep. And for me, that lesson is fucking patience, man. And if I can tell anybody out there that trains, that even just with regular life, like, patience is going to be one of your most important virtues that I still struggle with every goddamn day. Like, it is like patience in all facets, with other people, with even with yourself, more importantly, with how life's going, with everything. Is just have a little bit of patience with it, and it will at least help you along the way. Like, you will be able to kind of like take a breath, see what's going on, and just deal with it from there. But have a little patience. Bad shit does move on, Sometimes you're in a bad shit for a long ass fucking time, but eventually, if you're just a little patient about it, you keep trying to move forward a little bit, it will come to a head, or life will change. Something will happen, and hopefully you can see it and be like, okay, I'm gonna go for that. I'm gonna do it. This is it. This is the path to go down to. And sometimes you need a little help, and you take a little journey. You do all this, you do all that, and it's like, all right, now, thank you, spirits. I will try my best. Thank you, spirits. Okay.
If you were to talk to your 19, 15, 20, even 10-year-old self, Is that the advice you would give? Is about patience?
Patience, yeah, and it's the worst advice I can fucking give anybody. It sucks to be told to be patient. Try it. I tried to tell my wife to calm down and be patient. It does not work. So try it.
It's the opposite effect,
yeah.
right?
So it's the best advice. Yin yangy bullshit. It's the best advice I can give you. It's the worst advice I can give you because it's just like. Man, all I gotta do is be patient, man. I am patient. I've been waiting around for this. I've been doing that, whatever it might be. It's just like, yeah, just be patient about it, man. It feels like I'm pushing you off, but it's just like, just be patient. You know, it's gonna happen.
It's funny because I feel like with advice, people are looking like, what's the shortcut? What's the easy way out? Like, how do I get like to the end zone without having to go through the whole 100 yards?
Yeah,
you know. So like the patience, it's always like it feels like a brush off. It's like no, that's the point. Mm-hmm. It's like you can't. There's no cheat code. There's no shortcut. Yeah. It's just there's the process, and the process does not look exactly the same for everyone. It doesn't look exactly the same for you every time.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I wish there was just an easy blueprint that I can say, just do this A, B, C, D, and it should work out. You know.
You know what that is? Yeah. Showing up.
Yeah, I know. I get that.
But at the same time too, though, it's like
so hard.
But exactly though. At the same point, right?
Yeah.
How many times have you like in your career, right? You were not probably having as much fun training.
Absolutely
and you
not.
took time off.
Yeah.
Right? So just showing up is not the best part there. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's beneficial to a point, but it's not necessarily the thing you need at that point. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So that's not even the shortcut cheat code that works every time.
No, and it's the problem is it's different for everybody all the time. You know, it might be different for you, it might be different for you, and it's just like it's so hard to figure out, and that's why one umbrella of one word of be patient. It's so annoying and difficult. It's just like come on, like can't you just tell me do this and I'll be better rather than just say be patient and keep kind of doing what you're doing. Maybe do this, maybe do that, and you know, don't think about it too much. You know, take a break and come back. You know, get your head out of the game for 5 minutes. Go play video games, and then then come back. Go hang out. Yeah, exactly.
The reset.
Know? And then sometimes there's people which is like, no, don't reset. Push it. You know, fucking put some gas into it. And sometimes that's a motivator. You know, you just got to go. It's just.
Yeah, it's weird because sometimes like that is the move, but it's fickle because some like you don't know when to do what, and like
Yep. Just gotta be patient about it.
Trying.
It sucks.
And you know what you could do to help being patient is also how many times are you doing something you realize, dude, I'm not even enjoying. Let me enjoy everything around me right now, because like it's always a goal, and I'm like this too. I'm very like, all right, let's go to the outcome. All right, but when the outcome happens, what's after that?
What's next?
How about we just fucking enjoy it?
Yeah.
Not everything needs to be an outcome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Enjoy the process.
Yeah. It's about enjoying that process too. But again, it is about, you know, sometimes reaching that journey, finding that significance almost, and just like, hey man, this is where I belong. This is what I should be doing. This is what, you know, like you get that feeling after a while, or at least I've gotten that feeling. You know, I'm trying to be a little more selfless when it comes to it and just saying, okay, this is what I should be doing for these other people. I think it's a nice little conduit, you know, to also help me. And, you know, this is where I get the little satisfaction out of it as well, which will in turn help me be a better instructor, better this, that, whatever, you know, I'm just trying to make it work. Because man, it's this or pumping gas, like I said. It ain't. It's a grim life out there.
You're staying away from those pumps.
Yeah, no,
you're staying away from those pumps.
I can't. I ain't gonna go to Wawa. No thanks.
Okay. You're staying away from that. But that's a perfect formula, right? You just said that right there. How can I be selfless, helping those that are coming to me for help, while also giving me something for myself as well? And then like tying that all together, that's success.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
I'm just trying to help those around me, you know, like eventually you start seeing it's just like, okay, I can, it's about being selfless, but it's just like, it sounds weird for me to say, but it's not like I don't matter or something like that. But what part of my life, at least I've realized through certain journeys and things like that, it's like being selfless is a good advantage for me to have, you know. It's not necessarily that I don't think about myself or do some things for myself. That's not necessarily the case. But being able to kind of put myself aside, saying, okay, like this shit isn't about me. You know, this is for the greater good, or for the better advancement of this. This is for my family. This is for this, you know. It's not that I don't matter. It's just like I need to be able to understand, like, okay, these are the things that I want to facilitate more. And if I can kind of just take myself out of it and not necessarily my important needs, but my, my mental fucking ego bullshit out of it, it'll grow, you know? And maybe it's different for everybody, but that's at least how I feel about it for me. And that's what's been helping me down the line, where it's just like, take yourself out of this, be a little selfless. This is what it's about. Let's keep going, and, that's that, man.
Yeah.
That's how I've been trying to work it. So
Fucking preach, baby. That's like
no, I stink. I'm stupid. Don't listen to my advice. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's just like you're terrible at jiu-jitsu, right? Yeah.
Compared to some people, but I mean, I just like to make jokes. Just don't listen to half the stuff I say. I just want to be silly.
My favorite advice you give on Monday nights or whenever you're teaching is when you defend, if you're going to defend, hit them. Always have the last word.
Yes.
Always have the last word.
Yes, a quality bit that my wife taught me how to fight. Yes, of course. You have the last word, you have a tendency to win fights.
Yes.
Yep. That's the joke.
I fucking love it.
Is it true? I don't know.
We'll say it is.
Yeah, no, she's great.
That's funny. Defend, but have the last word.
You gotta have the last word when it comes to fights, We gotta have the last, in any fight.
Well, typically, especially if it's not in the ring, you got the last word. You probably won.
Yeah. And then you just gotta close your ears and walk away.
I'm a timid guy. I'm just gonna be like, don't fight me. It's okay. It's fine. I paint my nails. Don't touch me, please. It's fine. I stink.
Dude, this is a lot of fun, man. We've learned a lot about you, and I'm sure everyone else that's watching and listening, especially those that go to your class, now get to know really who Metal Mike.
Yeah, man.
More than just the death metal music. That's fucking sick.
Hey, that's a big part. So that's my outlet, man. Yeah. So listening to heavy music, going around smacking people, night and night, crazy music in my earphones, loud music, all that shit, being part of that scene. That's one of my favorite things. Next to, of course, martial arts and things like that. But it's just like, hey,
the two pillars of Mike.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, hey, getting involved in this too, because man, it's the same thing. It's an outlet. You get to listen to whatever you want. All this stuff. It's for everybody. And we welcome all the weirdos into metal communities, but it's definitely not for everybody. You can listen to this music and be like, what the fuck are these guys doing? They look weird. Look at these silly spiky hairs. They're wearing makeup. They're doing this. What is all these piercings in his face? Whatever, People screaming everywhere, but it's kind of cool when you get into it, And then sometimes some people look fucking like they're in business casual when they're going to shows. I'm just like, all right, random guy.
Are you here with a friend?
Yeah. You sure you're in the right spot? You're supposed to be wearing black and camouflage shorts. Black t-shirt and camo shorts. That's the attire, not just plain collared shirt. All right, you come from work.
That's fucking hilarious. That would probably be me.
Change at work. Change in the car. What are you doing with your collared shirt on here, dude?
That's funny. Oh man. So a lot of good stuff here.
Yeah,
what we like to do is let you say one more piece of advice, just be
part on a word, on advice, on a
sure. So probably the biggest piece of advice that I would be able to give people, other than patience and such, and other than having fun, is another piece of advice from my former jiu-jitsu instructor that was a purple belt that introduced me to this. He was also a martial arts black belt, a 6th degree black belt as well when it came to karate. But at one point in time, I think it's a military saying or some bullshit, but either way, you have to think about whatever hobby you're doing. Martial arts, I guess we'll equate this to, or whatever thing that brings you joy that you like, all right? You have to think about it as breakfast, okay? A healthy breakfast of ham and eggs, right? And both parts of that breakfast, the ham and the eggs, are important to that. You need the ham, you need the eggs, Sometimes you start out as the eggs for the most part, because I feel like what that part of breakfast is an equation for what is involved and what is invested in breakfast. The eggs, they're involved in breakfast. Okay, I didn't know up until a few years ago that chickens just laid eggs. I thought they needed to get fucked to lay eggs, but then turns out they just lay eggs. So, all right, eggs are involved in breakfast because they're just whatever, the eggs can come, they can go, it doesn't matter, they're this, it's really nothing to the chicken. But the ham, that's part of the pig, that's invested in breakfast. It gives its life for breakfast. Breakfast is its entire purpose and meaning. It is fully invested in breakfast. So, At a point in time, let's say in jiu-jitsu or in martial arts or anything like that, you'll have a tendency to come to a fork in the road. Do I want to keep doing this? How invested am I? How much do I want to spend? What do I want to do? Where do I want to go? All kinds of silly questions. But you can kind of dumb it down to, do you still want to be involved? Or do you want to invest something into it? There's absolutely nothing wrong with being involved in it. Being involved in it as long as you want. However, in the past few years and whatever, not that I didn't invest in myself when it came to it, I've really dived into it a lot more. Cornering, doing this, doing all kinds of other different shit, and investing myself into it. Trying to believe, at least in myself, a little bit into it. But again, really going into the pool of this and trying my best to swim. By investing myself in this, I've had a lot more enjoyment out of it. So if you come to that fork in the road and you have to make the decision of involvement versus invested versus eggs versus ham, I suggest try going to be the ham. I think you'll have a lot more fun with whatever hobby you're pursuing, you'll get a lot more out of it if you start to think of yourself as, I want to be the ham. I want breakfast. I will be totally invested in this thing. My life is invested in this. This is part of me. This is this. If you want to stay involved, there's nothing wrong with that. Stay involved. But just know, you're just involved. You're not invested in this thing. So there's a little difference in what that might be for some people based on your hobbies and whatnot. And again, if you come to that fork in the road at some way, shape, or form in whatever hobby you're doing, you got to make a decision. You want to stay involved? You want to become invested? Ham, eggs. Pick one. It's all breakfast, but pick one. So yeah. And that right there, dude, that set me off when I was just like, okay, I can't just be a blue belt walking around. I got to start doing this. There's a reason. I have to invest myself fully in this. I have to dive into said pool, and then purple belt, brown belt, start diving, start going further in towards it. The further you go into it, the further you invest yourself into it. At least for me, I'm having more fun with it, and this is becoming more of who I want to be, who I am, all that jazz, But if I was involved, you probably won't get all of that. You might still be able to have fun.
Yeah.
But it's a little different when you're involved versus invested. So, long story short, ham and eggs.
Ham and eggs.
Breakfast, dudes. Have some breakfast.
Have some breakfast. Eat your breakfast. No, that's
green eggs and ham.
That's a very unique way of stating that, like being like making your choices of how much more you want to dig. I never heard it explained that way.
So, See, I got some whimsy to me every now and again. Give you a few good ones. Again, there's silly jokes in there every now and again. Mostly bullshit, but fun little bits.
Dude, that's fucking awesome. Bro, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, of course. I'd be happy to come on any other time, man. If you want a part 2, that's cool. I'll be happy to sit here and fucking chit chat about whatever. Nice,
awesome.
Man.
Yeah,
we got plenty more silly stories, plenty more stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
No, for sure, and really appreciate you. Opening up and letting us know, not opening up, like you just sharing your life story, because it's definitely gonna help someone.
Yeah, next time I'll put some horror stories on you too. Really freak you out.
Yeah. Let's do it.
You're like, oh god, this is why he's nuts. So
hey man, to each their own.
We love it all.
Yes. Before you go, can I just give you a little shout out to my wife's business?
Sure.
My wife is an esthetician. She's awesome. She's been an entrepreneur for about a year now. Such and such. So I'm really trying to, push a little bit, trying to help her out wherever we can.
Absolutely.
So nice little podcast. Give her a shout out at Shtick Skin Suite over in Bernardsville. Nice. She has all kinds of waxing, eyebrows to Brazilians, everything like that. So
awesome.
if you need to get waxed, you need to get some hair pulled out, hang out. Hit up my wife, please.
What town was this again?
Bernardsville.
Okay, that's a good area.
Yeah, so give her a little shout out if you're looking for that, man. So
fuck yeah.
And then hell yeah, listen to some new brutal death metal,
There we go.
Now you need a band, message me. I'll give you a few, and that's that,
Awesome. Thank you again, brother. That was a lot of fun. Folks, you heard it here. A lot of good stuff. Thank you for joining us always. We'll be back next week. Episode 228, Metal Mike. Love you guys.
See ya.